Hare Krishna. Thank you for joining this morning. Srimad Bhagavatam class and attentive japa. Thank you for your association. We'll make a start. So we can try and finish near enough to the time as possible. So this morning we're talking about Vidura, who leaves home, leaves his opulent home, his kingdom, and it's mentioned that for a saintly person like Vidura, and we all know Vidur, don't we, from Mahabharata, so it's the same Vidur we're discussing. So for a saintly person like Vidur, any disturbance due to worldly affairs is insignificant, because such disturbances, however, are sometimes favorable for higher realization. So anyone who's in a higher conscience can see the positive, especially spiritually positive, from any situation. And therefore Vidur took advantage of a family misunderstanding in order to meet Maitri Rishi, very, very high exalted Rishi, Maitri Rishi. And now Duryodhana knew very well that Vidur was a very great soul and well-wisher, but unfortunately he used really strong words to hurt his uncle. And Duryodhana not only attacked Vidur's birth, but also called him an infidel because he seemed to support the cause of Yudhishthira. So because he was taking side of the Pandavas, Duryodhana was not happy about that, because I think he felt that they were paying his expenses, his lodgings, and yet he was always on the side of the Pandavas. And he would taunt him by calling him Dasi Puttar, son of a maid, servant, like that, trying to provoke him. So Duryodhana desired that Vidur be immediately put out of the palace and deprived of all his possessions. And if possible, he would have liked him caned until he was left with nothing but his breath. And he charged that Vidur was a spy of the Pandavas because he advised King Dhritarashtra in the favor. And Vidur was a spy of the Pandavas, and he was struck with the wonder. Vidur was struck with wonder at such unexpected behavior from his nephew Duryodhana. And before anything actually happened, so far it was just accusations. So if anything else happened, he decided that he should leave before things got out of hand. So this is what we're discussing today. Let's do a quick prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langyate gurim yat kirpataham vande Shri Guru Deen Taranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanyeshwaram Hari Om Tassat Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narotamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiriyat Nasta Presha Padareshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nestiki. Jai. Hare Krishna. So Vidur, being pierced by arrows through his ears and afflicted to the core of his heart, he placed his bow on the door and quit his brother's palace. He wasn't sorry, for he considered the acts of the external energy to be supreme. You know, when the external energy takes over and does his duty, who can stop it? It's very, very strong. So a pure devotee of the Lord is never perturbed by an awkward position created by the external energy of the Lord. So even if you're a devotee, does not mean that you're not going to get problems or you're not going to see problems. They're always there. But you just see them from a different angle, from a different viewpoint. Because it's mentioned in the Bhagavad-Gita, Shlok 3.27, that Prakirta Krimani Gunhe Karmani Sarvashaha Ahankara Vimudatma Kartaham Iti Maniyate. So a conditioned soul is absorbed in material existence under the influence of different modes of external energy, absorbed in the false ego. He thinks that he is doing everything by himself. He thinks he is the Karta. The external energy of Lord, the material nature, is fully under the control of the Supreme Lord, and the conditioned soul is fully under the grip of the external energy. So we are not the doers. The external energy is controlling us in the three modes. So therefore the conditioned soul is fully under the control of the law of the Lord. Like we're like puppets. Like last week we had this class with His Grace Dinabandhu Prabhu. He is saying that we are like a puppet, and the material energy like the hand inside the puppet that's moving us. We think we are moving, but the hand is moving us, and it's the hand of Krishna, of course. But due to illusion only, he thinks himself independent in his activities. So we think we are independent, but we are not independently working. We are controlled by Maya, by illusion, by external energy. So Duryodhana was acting under such influence of the external nature, by which he would be vanquished at the ultimate end. He could not accept the sound advice of Vidur, but on the contrary, he insulted that great soul who was well-wisher of his whole family. Because Vidur thought, well, they were all his own family, why would he want to insult them or put them down? He just wanted to say the right thing. He was always wanted to do the right thing, speak the truth. In spite of being very strongly insulted by Duryodhana's words, Vidur could see that Duryodhana, under the influence of Maya, the external energy, was making progress. Which way was he making progress? On the path towards his own ruination. He therefore considered the acts of the external energy to be supreme, yet he also saw how the internal energy of the Lord helped him in that particular situation. So you think about when the external energy is doing its job, the internal energy is also doing his or her job for the devotee. A devotee is always in a renounced temperament, because the worldly attractions can never satisfy him. Vidur was never attracted by the royal palace of his brother. He was always ready to leave the palace and devote himself completely to the transcendental loving service of the Lord. So sometimes you have certain desires, and then Krishna makes some kind of arrangements for your desires to manifest. So Vidur always wanted this anyway, and Krishna made arrangements for him to do that. Now he got the opportunity by the grace of Duryodhana, and instead of being sorry at the strong words of insult, he thanked him from within, because it gave him the chance to live alone in a holy place and fully engage in the devotional service of the Lord. Sometimes we have duties, we have responsibilities, we're not able to break away. So Krishna sometimes arranges such an arrangement that it gives you the opportunity, gives you the impetus, the stage where you can now leave and do what you really wanted to do. And this happens in spiritual life, It happens in material life as well. You have certain desires, but you dare not leave, or you're afraid. But sometimes the situation is so strong that it forces you to leave. But you are happy that you left because this is what you wanted anyway, so it's fine. Krishna's arrangement. So by his piety, Vidur achieved the advantages of the pious Kauravas. After leaving Hastinapur, he took shelter of many places of pilgrimage, which are the Lord's lotus feet. So the pilgrimages are described as the Lord's lotus feet, with the desire to gain a higher order of pious life. He travelled to holy places where thousands of transcendental forms of the Lord are situated. So Vidur was undoubtedly a highly elevated and pious soul. Otherwise, he would not have taken his birth in the Kaurava family. To have high parentage, to possess wealth, to be highly learned, and to have great personal beauty are all due to past pious acts. So, as we were saying, to be born in a rich family, higher parentage, and have a beautiful, to be beautiful, it's not necessarily a qualification for being, becoming spiritual, because sometimes you can abuse these positions. So there's always that danger that if you're beautiful, or you have a lot of wealth, or you have very famous parents, if you're not careful, then you could fall down as well. So it's very important, that you remain on that platform somehow. You pray to Krishna that you remain on that platform, even if you don't make it back and you are born into such a family. Right, so Vidur considered himself less pious, and therefore he decided to travel to all the great places of pilgrimage in the world in order to achieve greater piety and advance nearer to the Lord. So at that time, Lord Krishna was personally present in the world, and Vidur could have at once approached him directly, because this is the aim, end of the day, to approach Krishna, to get close to Krishna. But Vidur didn't go directly to Krishna. He went through all the pilgrimages, because the reason was he wasn't sufficiently freed from sin. He felt that he wasn't sufficiently freed from sin. Because one cannot be 100% devoted to the Lord unless and until he is completely free from all effects of sin. Vidur was conscious that by the association of diplomatic Dhritarashtra and Duryodhan, he had lost his piety and was therefore not fit to associate at once with the Lord. So he travelled to all the holy places. So if you have wrong association, then there can be a hint of contamination in your consciousness that you need to purify. So very important what kind of association we keep. We pray to the Lord that we attract the right kind of people with the right kind of consciousness, so we don't get contaminated by the wrong people and the wrong consciousness. And then places of pilgrimages are meant for eradicating the sins of pilgrims, and they are distributed all over the universe just to give facility to all concerned for attaining pure existence and God realization. One should not be satisfied, however, merely by visiting the places of pilgrimage and performing one's prescribed duties. He should be eager to meet the great souls who are already there. So just going there and say, I've been to this place is not enough. You have to do a bit more than that. You have to try and meet the great souls there. If you go to Vrindavan, Mayapur, try and meet the great souls there and learn from them. They always have something to give you. They carry Krishna in the heart, and they can share that. Engaged in the service of the Lord. In each and every place of pilgrimage, the Lord is present in his various transcendental forms. Right, so we talk about the Archa Murtis, or form of the Lord, which can be easily appreciated by the common man. The Lord is transcendental to our mundane senses. He cannot be seen with our present eyes, nor can he be heard with our present ears. To the degree that we have entered into the service of the Lord, or to the proportion that our lives are freed from sins, we can perceive the Lord. But even though we are not free from sins, the Lord is kind enough to allow us the facility of seeing Him in His Archa Murtis. So we cannot see Krishna by material eyes, but we can see the Murtis with the material eyes. And this is how He communicates with us, through His Murtis in the temple. The Lord is all powerful, and therefore He is able to accept our service by presentation of His Archa form. No one therefore should foolishly think the Archa in the temple to be an idol. Such an Archa Murti is not an idol, but the Lord Himself. And to the proportion that one is free from sins, he is able to know the significance of the Archa Murti. The guidance of a pure devotee is therefore always required. So as we become knowledgeable, as we become purified, we see the idol, so-called idols, as Krishna Himself, as the Lord Himself, and we have to see how we communicate with them. If you are under a lot of illusion, then you need to see them as idols, and you don't appreciate them. So some of the archas, representation of the Lord situated in different places of pilgrimage, are mentioned. So the Lord is present at Mathura, the birthplace of Lord Krishna, as Adi Keshava. The Lord is present at Puri in Orissa as Lord Jagannath, as we all know, and is also known as Purushottam. He is present at Allahabad, Prayag, as Bindu Madhav. At Mandra Hill, he is present as Madhusudan. In the Anandarayana, he is known as Vasudev, and Padanab and Janardhan. At Vishnu Kanshi, he is known as Vishnu, and at Mayapur he is known as Hari. There are millions and billions of such archa forms of the Lord distributed all over the universe. All these archa murtis are summarized in the Chaitanya Charitamrita in the following words: Sarvatra Prakash Tanra Bhakte Sukha Daite Jaktera Dharmanashi Dharam Stapite. The Lord has so distributed Himself all over the universe just to give pleasure to the devotees, to give the common man facility to eradicate his sins and to establish religious principles in the world. So this is mentioned in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. So this is how we see it. So Vidur, he began to travel alone and thinking only of Krishna to various holy places like Ayodhya, Dwarka and Mathura. He went all around India. He travelled where the grove, hill, orchard, river and lake are all pure and sinless, and where the forms of the unlimited decorate the temples. Thus he performed the pilgrim's progress. So these archa forms of the Lord may be considered idols by the atheist, but that does not matter from a person like Vidur or his many other servants. The forms of the Lord are mentioned here as Ananta Linga. Such forms of the Lord have unlimited potency, the same as that of the Lord Himself. There is no difference between the potency of the archa and those of the personal forms of the Lord. So it's mentioned once again that we don't consider them as just murtis. They are archa murtis. They are the form of the Lord for us to associate with. And Prabhupada gives the example of the post box and the post office. He says that the little post boxes distributed all over the city have the same potency as the postal system in general. The duty of the post office is to carry letters from one place to another. If one puts a letter in a post box authorized by the General Post Office, the function of carrying letters is performed without a doubt. So if you put a letter in a post box, you know it will get to its destination, not that, oh, it's in the middle of a street somewhere and the post office is somewhere else. You know, I will be wasting my time putting my letter here. No, it's all connected. There's a network. You put the letter in the post box anywhere, wherever it is. If it's the post box is being used by the post office, put a letter there, it will get to the destination through the post office. So similarly, the Archa Murti can also deliver the same unlimited potency of the Lord as when He is personally present. Vidura therefore could see nothing but Krishna in the different Archa forms. So the Archa forms are like the post boxes, is mentioned here. And ultimately he was able to realize Krishna alone and nothing else. Wow, this is too good. So while so traversing the earth, he simply performed duties to please the Supreme Lord and Hari. His occupation was pure and independent. He was constantly sanctified by taking his bath in holy places. Although he was the dress of a mendicant, had no hairdressing, nor a bed on which to lie. Thus he was always unseen by his various relatives. So that was the advantage for him, that nobody recognized him because he was just like just a normal person, going about his business. He didn't look like somebody who has come from a royal family or something like that. But it's also mentioned the first and foremost duty of a pilgrim is to satisfy the Supreme Lord Hari. There is no need to depend on social formalities or occupation or dress. One should remain always absorbed in the function of pleasing the Lord. Thus sanctified by thought and action, one is able to realize the Supreme Lord by the process of pilgrim's journey. So our focus should be on pleasing the Lord, not how do we look, are our clothes okay, is my hair okay. The first priority is to purify ourselves and to please Krishna. So when you read this, it makes you want to go on a pilgrimage and do just that. So at the place of pilgrimage at Prabhas, it came to his knowledge that all his relatives had died due to violent passion. So he's been away for so long, and the Mahabharata has taken place while he's been away. But he found that in Prabhas because the people are talking about it. So all his relatives had died due to violent passion, just as an entire forest burns due to fire produced by the friction of the bamboos. After this, he proceeded west where the river Saraswati flows. So both the Kauravas and the Yadavas were relatives of Vidur, and Vidur heard of the extinction due to fratricidal war. The comparison of the friction of the forest bamboos is that of the passionate human sight is inappropriate, though the whole world is compared to a forest. At any moment there may be a flare-up of fire in the forest due to friction, just like the friction between the bamboos who are already in the forest. So no one goes to the forest to set it on fire. So there's no external fire being produced. It's produced within the forest by the entities that are already there. But due to the friction between bamboos, fire takes place and burns an entire forest. So this is what happens in society. No alien is to come down and destroy us. We can destroy, very capable of destroying ourselves. Similarly, in the greater forest of worldly transaction, the fire of war takes place because of the violent passion of the conditioned souls, illusioned by the external energy. And such a worldly fire can be extinguished only by the water of the mercy cloud of saints, just as a forest fire can be extinguished only by a rain falling from a cloud. So the saints act as a rain cloud. On the bank of the river Saraswati, there were 11 places of pilgrimage, namely Trita, Ushana, Manu, Prithu, Agni, Asita, Vayu, Sudas, Guha, and Shardadeva. Vidur visited all of them and duly performed rituals. So he really used his time so well. He visited every place he could find, every pilgrimage he could find. There were also many other temples of various forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vishnu, established by great sages and demigods. These temples were marked with the chief emblem of the Lord, and they reminded one always of the regional Personality of Godhead, Lord Krishna. So it's mentioned the purpose of pilgrimage is to remember the Lord constantly, and therefore the Lord is known as Tirth Kriti. The purpose of going to a place of pilgrimage is to get the chance to glorify the Lord. Even today, although times have changed, there are still pilgrimage sites in India, for example in Mathura and Vrindavan, where we have a chance to stay. People are awake from early in the morning at 4 a.m. until night time and are constantly engaged somewhere or other in chanting the holy glories of the Lord. And the beauty of such pilgrimage site is that ultimately one remembers the holy glories of the Lord. His name, fame, quality, form, pastime and entourage are identical to the Lord, And therefore, chanting the glories of the Lord invokes the personal presence of the Lord. Anytime, anywhere, pure devotees meet and chant the glories of the Lord is present without any doubt. It is said by the Lord Himself that He always stays where His pure devotees chant His glories. So, wow. So, you can't, there's no way you can forget the Lord if you are in such holy places. This is the point. When you're visiting these places, you're constantly engaged in the service of the Lord, and you somehow find the energy as well. And there are other people there who give you association and give you strength, spiritual strength. It's a joint. It's like a joint effort that you pull each other to associate with the Lord. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining. Prem Prakash Prabhu, my father-in-law ji, Jai Prabhu, Madhav Shyam Sundar Prabhu, Partha Prabhu, Parveen Mataji, Suresh Mataji, and Venkat Prabhu. Thank you for joining this morning. Please, if you don't want to say anything, just stay. It's okay. You don't have. If you don't want to make any comments, that's fine. But please, always hear, because this part is also very important, because we learn so much from the realization of the devotees. I actually learn, because I have my own point of view. When I hear from everyone online, then I actually learn. So, well, I didn't think about that. That's very good. So, okay, Venkat Prabhu, that's okay. Understand. Now, thank you for joining today. Thank you so much. Catch up with you soon. Okay. Jay Prabhu, would you like to mention something?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. So last canto ended with the sages want to discuss Vidura, and so this canto starts off with it. I think everyone probably knows that Vidura is the uncle of Duryodhana and all the Pandavas as well. So the reason why he left town was because he was insulted by Duryodhana. But there's a few things mentioned about a couple of things mentioned about the Shrek king and Duryodhana, which I think in the chapter. So we know the king was blind from birth, but his blindness in committing impious activities to support his dishonored sons was an even greater blindness. When one is spiritually blind, even though physically, that blindness is more dangerously detrimental to the spiritual path in human life. So I think something mentioned on Duryodhana, about protection in the father.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, absolutely. He was.
Okay. The main topic was as pilgrimages. So that was discussed in detail. So places of pilgrimage are meant for eradications of sins, in order to purify oneself and realize God. The purpose of pilgrimage is to remember the Lord constantly. Also, a chance to glorify the Lord. So, so when one goes on pilgrimage, you automatically remember how holy glories of the Lord. So his name, fame, quality, form, pastimes are all identical to the Lord, and therefore chanting of the glories of the Lord invokes the personal presence of the Lord. So at any time or any place where pure devotees meet and chant the glories of the Lord is present without any doubt. It is said by the Lord Himself that He always stays where His pure devotees are. So you mentioned, place. Um, I mean, first and foremost, duty, duty of a program is to please the Lord. Yeah. So, okay. Maybe that.
Thank you so much, Prabhu. Yes, that's wonderful. Thank you. Um, yeah, I mean, all this problem was caused by Dhritarashtra because he was king, but wasn't really doing his job properly, was it? Because he was spiritually blind. He was not just a blind king; he was a spiritually blind king. And but you can see the positive in everything, and you saw Krishna's arrangement. End of the day, and the ones who could benefit, they benefited. This is the main thing. Okay, Partha Prabhu, Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, nice class. Actually, I'm hearing about this. I am hearing about this pilgrimage second time today. I was reading one of the text from Srila Prabhupada from Bhagavad-Gita where Prabhupada mentioned that there are two intelligent people, one materialistic intelligent and another is transcendental, like self-realization intelligent. And for the purification, one has to spend time in Dham. So it's very nice, Prabhu. And you mentioned about like Krishna make arrangements. If you have desire, then Krishna make arrangements for that. Another is like wrong association is very critical thing for us. So it's very easy to fall down once you get a wrong association. I could see like the people who do chanting and they are in starting phase, but again, if they get association of the people who are watching movies, they leave the chanting bit again and go for watching the movie again. So it's very easy to fall down in that way. Prabhuji, so one question is like in Bhagavad Gita, like, Matra Sparshasya Kaunteya. So when we are discussing about this, the other person asked me like how much time we need to bear, like how much tolerance we can have when somebody is hurting you. So Vidura is been hurt so badly, and but finally he left the kingdom and he went on for pilgrimage. So I think that what you mentioned, Prabhu, like Krishna make arrangements. So Vidura is none other than sorry,
Dharmraj.
Yamaraj. Yamaraj. So for him, all the arrangements are done. Like how Dharmraj can fall down. Otherwise, like other than like Krishna making arrangements for him. Otherwise, like that's why I really confused here. Like when once you say that you have to tolerate, you have to bear anything because you have trust on the Lord. But finally, Vidura has to leave the kingdom because of the words of Duryodhana.
Mhm.
But here I feel like it's a plan for him rather than he is getting stressed because of the words of Duryodhana. That's what I understand, Prabhuji. That's all.
Yeah, absolutely right, Prabhu. That's right. So this is how plans work. That some adverse reversals will take place, but you can see the positive in that, and you use it
Mm,
for your advantage. This is
mm,
the is use the threat as an opportunity, just like in business. Something that might look a threat, but you can turn that around to your advantage.
mm,
So this is what Vidur did. Although it seemed like a very insulting thing to happen, very bad thing to happen, but he realized that there was advantage, spiritual advantage in that, and he took that advantage for him because
mm,
he was already in his heart anyway, so he didn't have to think about it too much or like, what shall I do now? What shall I do now? I'm being thrown out the house. Where shall I go? He was already
mm,
there. He was already ready, and he just waiting for that opportunity because otherwise it's very difficult for him to leave the kingdom. He leave his duties. He couldn't just say, "Oh look, have I'm having a break for like a couple of years or something. I'm off to pilgrimage." I mean, nobody would have allowed him that, and he probably wouldn't have done that. But now he had the opportunity, he had so much time on his hand that he could freely go and do what he wanted. He was already prepared. Mentally, he was already prepared. So it didn't affect him in any bad way because he already had like a plan B, isn't it? You could
yeah,
say sometimes he had a plan B ready, which was better than plan A.
yeah.
Yeah. And
Thank you, Prabhuji.
regarding tolerance, Lord Krishna, yeah, you mentioned the shloka, Mata Specious Kunteya. In this material world, Lord Krishna says, and the Prabhupada mentions as well, that we have to suffer. This is Jalam Shashvatam. We have no alternative. It is
mm,
made for suffering. This world is made for suffering, and we have to tolerate. But at the same time, we have to have faith in the Lord that He will protect us, because Lord Krishna says that He will protect us. He tells Arjun that declare that my devotees will never be vanquished. Uh,
mm,
so Krishna, declares that He will protect us from everything. So we have to have that confidence in the Lord that He will protect us. And He asks Arjun to say, instead of him saying himself, He asks Arjun to say it, because sometimes Krishna breaks His promises, right? Krishna
mm,
breaks His promises. So He asks Arjun to declare that Krishna says that His devotees never vanquish, because everybody will believe Arjun, because Krishna will make sure that what his devotee has said is never goes untruth, right? That
mm,
it happens. So Krishna would do it, remain faithful to his devotee. Himself, he might cheat sometimes, or he might break the rules. He might tell a lie. This is how Krishna works. He's Teda, as they say, and he can do that because he's God. He can do whatever he wants. He doesn't have to stick to any certain rules, abide by anything. He's not any in any kind of authority over him that he has to do that. But for his
mm.
devotee, he always does the right thing by them. So he asks Arjun to say that. So Krishna protects us, and we got to have that confidence, the faith that even if we're going through a hard time, something happening is for our own benefit, and Krishna will protect us from the great dangers. Yeah,
Nice. Thank you, Prabhuji.
thank you. Okay, Praveen Mataji.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Very good class. So on the pilgrimage, so I'm very excited because we are going to Watford Manor.
Yeah,
So, so it's really good. I'm really, really excited. Since COVID, I haven't been anywhere. So now I'm going to take my grandson for darshan. So very, very excited. So I've forgotten everything else what I wanted to say because I'm so excited.
okay.
So it's like, oh, it's amazing. Can't wait. So, and like you talked about the earthly greats, the authorized form of the Lord. So it's not different. So, yeah, I just can't wait to take darshan and my little one grandson to take darshan because he gets so happy when he sees the Lord. And we got the card from Watford Manor and he keeps putting his hands up and he picks up the card, kisses it, and he just likes to dance. So, yeah. And like and also you talked about the so the effect of the association of non-devotees, like even Vidura, although he was an exalted devotee, even though still he suffered because he was in association of the Rodhana. So we have to be very careful as well. Yeah, I think that's it, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Madhuri. Yeah, see, this is the thing. We hear in the classes that we should leave the association of non-devotees like it's like we go to the toilet, and how quickly when our business is finished, we get out. We don't hang around in the toilet. It's a crude example, but it makes sense. And I was thinking about that as well. That especially in these COVID times, that you have to associate with somebody. You can't hide in the house. You have to get out. You have to have association, and yet you're told that avoid this, avoid that, avoid this. But it does make sense. When you think on a material platform, you think, what are they telling us, that we should just become, hide from everything. But when you think on a spiritual platform, then it does make sense that don't meet people who are going to contaminate your association. If you do have to meet, do your business and get out. Or if you still have to meet, especially like relatives who are not really inclined towards the Lord, then let them, then you take over the conversation, rather than they're trying to get you in their thinking. You get them in the way of your thinking. I think that's not taking association, as we have discussed before. That as long as you are giving them association, give them association instead of taking their association. So yeah, thank you so much, Matari. Prem Prakash Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Hare Bol, Hare Krishna, Sundar Pranam.
Thank you. Very good.
So I was just wondering that the personality we are talking about, Hare Bol, Sundar Pranam. So I was just thinking the personality we are talking about is Mahajan himself. So he knows the essence of Dharma himself. So he's just not, I mean, any person. He's one of the 12 only 12 persons in the entire this universe that who knows the glimpse of Dharma. So I was just wondering that how exemplarily he is demonstrating, and I mean, I got two things out of it. First thing is that I mean, being a devotee person is always humble. I mean, always humble, believe himself to be most fallen, and then I don't know which bhav or something is there, but they are not very. They are although very much excited to approach Krishna and being in his presence, but they are also being humble and then showing their humility. Don't directly approach Krishna. I mean, they wait for Krishna to somehow give opportunity to approach him. uh, I was just understanding that although when Vidura left for the pilgrimage, Krishna was there, and like you said that he didn't directly approach Krishna, but he actually chose to purify himself before he could actually associate with Krishna and went to pilgrimage. But what happened when he came back from pilgrimage? Krishna already left. So that pain in heart basically is unbearable. I mean, this mood of separation is Krishna is still demonstrating that look, whatever you do, basically, I'm still the supreme. But you carry that pain in your heart. That is also, I mean, pain in heart of associating with Krishna is Krishna himself. Basically, the desire to associate with Krishna is somehow thinking about Krishna is Krishna himself. So uh, many fortunate devotees will still have those feelings that they want to associate with Krishna so much, and that excitement is what Krishna is looking at. And if they are missing Krishna somewhat, then that feeling is Krishna is looking at. So that is something very important to understand, that being humble and then always being optimistic that Krishna will somehow give his mercy. And it's being demonstrated, all it is demonstrated by one of the Mahajans basically. Although he could directly associate with Krishna whenever he wants, but on his behalf, um, he's demonstrating that how a devotee should be there, what mood devotee should be carrying. There are other things as well when we associate with people who are non-devotees, and not just Vidura in this connection. Akrura and Kritvarma were also contaminated because of that association with Kansa. So one day nicely Nitachan Prabhuji was telling that what is association basically? How to get, what do you mean by getting association and giving association? Association is something, when we give association, is something when we meet them, we talk about Krishna. We try to do what we do and try to engage them in the service of Krishna. Or being neutral, basically. Just present our opinion and being firm with what we have in our mind. That is association that we give. But if we meet someone and somebody is discussing movie and we just jumping in the discussion about movie, so we are taking association. So that is difference between association. When we do our job, when we work basically, and we just mind to our work, what we need to do is our work, that is our karma, that is our dharma, but that one has to do. But if one starts appreciating the things or start liking the things what's going around in the workplace, or if the boss goes that let's go for a drink, and although we don't drink, we accompany him, um, just to give him a company, that is just to give them association or just to take their association. So that is a difference. So practically in this material world, people will not, I mean, because of Kali Yuga and somewhat, and that was Dwapar Yuga. So it might not be possible to have leave association of all non-devotees until one is brahmachari or in that ashram. But in a grihastha ashram, it is dharma of a grihastha to work and earn, carry on their earnings, and all, not just maintain their family, but also maintain the other ashramas. So that is dharma that one has to carry out, and one can't actually go away from there. But then taking association of people is like taking their opinion and considering their opinion and then giving our opinion to their opinions, basically getting ourselves mentally involved with that. That is association. So I think from my understanding, I might not be 100% sure, but that is what my understanding is, that one has to carry out what has a dharma of maintaining and earning for the family. One cannot actually go away with that, and one has to do something. Obviously, one has to choose their job. It has to be Vedically. None of the job is Vedic. I mean, at least it should not have minimum 4 things when it is possible, wherever it is possible, for like selling of meat or something like that. That is it. One has to choose what kind of job they are doing, if possible, if Krishna permits. But other than that, the association is something like one has to do their job, but not get involved with it, not get attached to it. And somehow we all do. I mean, we all get attached to our jobs. When we all get attached to our bosses and they're listening what they want to say and then trying to please it. But that's what association means, that do your job, what is your dharma, but don't get something which actually take their opinion and then consider influence yourself. So that's what I would like to present, Raghiji. I mean, one practically and one what I believe, what I got from here. Obviously, every Leela has multiple understanding, and each devotee will have their own perception how the Leela went, because Lord is permitting them to have the perception, and that is what my small perception is. Thank you, Raghiji. Hare
Thank
Krishna.
you. Wonderful. Thank you, Bobby. Absolutely. I mean, we have to associate, especially Gretstas, we have to associate in the world. And if we can give people our opinion and get them to understand it, that's all the better, isn't it? So we should be always ready to, if we see a gap in the market, then jump in and help people. That's our duty, not just to advance ourselves, help other people advance as well. And if you can get people into in your confidence, and if you can get them to listen to you, that's more the better. And if we carry that desire in our heart, just like Vidur had his plans, we should have these plans ourselves as well. That I talk to this person regularly. Uh, Maybe I can just start sowing the seed of devotion, and then one day it does click. They have to be in the right frame at the right time. It can click. You might tell them 9 times, and they don't really listen, or it doesn't really register. 10th time it will register. It's like when you try to make a sale, that you have to go to this customer, new potential customer, so many times to make the sale. You won't necessarily buy from you first time. You have to keep going back, and then I think it's like 6 times or something. You have to approach somebody before they will buy from you on average, right? So it's similar. We try to sell the holy name. You keep knocking on the door, and one day they will open it, and and actually listen to you what you want to say, and that will sow the seed, and then Krishna will make some other arrangements for them to get more association. They might hear Harinam somewhere and say, oh, yeah, this is what the Prabhu was on about. Yeah, it's good. And so it just builds up from there. So thank you so much, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Thank you,
And,
Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
and by the way, you mentioned about Vidur. Krishna left. You're right. Krishna left. When Vidur was hopefully thinking that he was ready to meet him, but Krishna thought of him. Because Krishna knows he's in the heart. He thought of him before he left, and he mentioned to Uddhav. He left some messages for Vidur, because he knew would come to Uddhav. And so Vidur was so happy that Krishna thought of me before leaving. That was a good thing. And also we hear that Vidur loved Krishna. He had love for Krishna, but it's mentioned that love in separation is higher than just love for Krishna. loving separation, that mood is higher than the. This is what the Acharya said, that love is even higher. So he got love in separation. That's the highest love. So that
Yeah.
was the gift that Krishna actually gave him. By Krishna's absolute, even by living, he can do things for you, you know. So even by living, by separation, he was able to please Vidur by giving the highest love.
So Krishna can then, it said that Krishna does pastime for 1 second, and that one pastime can't be actually uttered by Anantasesha with his infinite mouth for the infinite time. So Krishna does one Leela, and then look, we are also relishing it. So his Leela has not ended at that time when he did the Leela. It's still continuing, and it will keep on continuing for all the devotees who are going to relish the Leela.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely infinite. So we can't even perceive one Leela what he did at that time is still there. It's still happening. Hari Bol.
Thank you so much, Babu. Thank you, Hari.
Krishna.
Sureshi Mataji. Hare Krishna Mataji. Mataji, you're not able to unmute?
Something about Vidura, and because Vidura was not, he was son of a Dasi, but he was not actually Das, like Dasi, was very intelligent, but because he was cursed by Mandav Muni because he was Yamaraj, and he became Sudra. And the Vidura was very great devotee and friend of Lord Krishna. He loved Krishna very much, and the other way around, that Krishna loved him very much. And he was a Mahatma, they call he's a big soul, very hearty soul. And when Lord Krishna, he loved Vidura so much that when he visited Hastinapur, he had prasadam at Vidura's house instead of Duryodhana. Because Krishna only wants love. He says in Bhagavad-Gita, Patram Phalam Pushpam Phalam Toyam Vatta Paraste. If one offers me with the love and devotion, a leaf, flower, fruit, or water, I will accept it. That means Duryodhana had no love for Krishna. He was only wanted to show his palace and his that how many varieties of food he got. But Vidura had love for Krishna. And when Krishna came as a Shanti Dut to make peace between cousin brothers, Duryodhana refused the peace, and Vidura was very upset and he was very unsatisfied because it was in a kind of insulting Krishna. So when in front of you, if a person is insulted, you have to go away from there. If you can't do anything, you go away. So there's a hidden meaning of Vidura leaving the place as well. And also, Duryodhana insulted Vidura so badly, but he didn't say anything. And that's a sign of Mahatma. So he decided to leave Hastinapur or the palace. And it was all Krishna's arrangement. Nothing can happen without Krishna's arrangement. He wanted to arrange Vidura to go for pilgrimage and to Tirath Yatra, to the holy places, and to meet some sages, some Vaishnavas, and to know about Krishna through the sages. So people go to Tirath Yatra to purify themselves, but one should go to sacred places not only to take bath, but to search for the pure devotees, Vaishnavas, and sages to hear the katha of the Supreme Lord. And it was all Krishna's plan for Vidura to leave Hastinapur and go to Tirath Yatra to meet especially Maitra Muni, which we'll discuss later on. And it says we should chant Krishna's name, think about him, talk about him in that way, we never forget Krishna, and Krishna will never forget us. Like he never forgotten Vidura. He always thought of Vidura. That's why he made arrangement for him to go to Tirath Yatra and meet Maitra Muni. And then Maitra Muni will discuss all the activities to Vidura. That was all his plan. So that's why when anything happens in this, there's so many things, reasons behind it. Not one reason why it happens. Only Krishna knows why it happens. He makes all the arrangements. Sometimes we don't like it, but in the end, sometimes it turns out to be good. So we must never forget Krishna. Always think of him and be tolerant. If you don't have to argue people, if you don't like it, you have to just walk out. That's the best thing, is to walk out to avoid the problem. Or otherwise, if you two people keep on arguing, then you can lose your mind. Like Krishna says, if you lose your mind, then you lose your intelligence as well. So you have to be lesson from Vidura, that he was in the palace, but he was seeing everything was going on so badly between the two, between the cousins, but he was tolerant and advising people because he was very, very intelligent person. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you so much. Right, we are obviously it's like 4 minutes to 9. Let's do just one round today. Swati Mataji, would you like to just do the round and then we'll stop after that?
Okay.
Thank you, Vandari.